Hello everyone. So, welcome to my now smaller sized, darker painted place. I'm living in a loft now, so still things are a bit crazy in regards to unpacking stuff, and hopefully I'll get something a little bit more settled once I get off my lazy ass. In saying that, now, I'm going to do just a quick video in regards to a woman on YouTube whose name is Kat Blaque. I am going to be going over one of her videos here that is called What is Rape Culture? So let's dive right in.
So I was walking home the other day and this guy followed me as I was walking to my apartment. He asked me where I was going and I said, home, smiling politely and quickly turning around.
Yeah, like most people do when they're confronted with strangers, whether a homeless person or a drunk person, you just kind of be nice about it and move along.
Then he asked me if he could come with me and I said, no, I'm okay, this time making sure that I had no eye contact with him.
And what you did was right, what most people would do.
Then he asked me, can I get your number? And I said, sorry, no thank you.
That's when you say, no sir, it's 2016 and I don't have a cell phone.
Then he asked me, do you live alone? And I said, no, I live with my boyfriend, hoping that he would get the clue.
That's a lie, Kat Blaque. You live with your 47 cats. Trying to trick people there.
Then he said, so can I get your number?
So, can I get your number? Well, that doesn't really describe any form of rape whatsoever. That just describes an uncomfortable situation to which you found yourself in, with some random stranger who was probably drunk or homeless or somebody who doesn't get about personal space like most educated people. This whole intro thing with the music, okay, what is rape culture? Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, it's a Sunday school fucking special.
Rape culture is a culture in which sexual violence is considered the norm.
Wrong. First off, in Western societies, nobody likes rape. Both men and women hate the idea of rape, okay? Rape is not normalized in our society. In fact, it is a small percentage of men and a small percentage of women that are not getting the ideas of consent and crossing the boundaries in regards to people's specific personal space, sexual comfortness, and the idea of consent. Rape culture doesn't exist in the West because we condemn this act. We do not condone this act. If everybody in the Western societies condoned rape, then it would be a rape culture. Okay? But you're going to explain how everything else that doesn't equate to rape will be equating to rape culture.
It's a culture where girls going away to college are told that they should invest in pepper spray keychains, but doesn't teach boys about consent.
First off, teaching women how to self-defend themselves is actually a good, productive, and constructive way of protecting your body, protecting yourself, and protecting your mind from the possibility of somebody overstepping their boundaries. What is wrong with this idea? I love how a lot of feminists and SJWs are trying to push the responsibility of how to protect themselves onto other people. You are being lazy in regards to protecting yourself in regards to a possible scenario that might occur. So, what's wrong with this? Feminists are lazy. They just don't want women to do all the hard, heavy lifting, but they're more acceptable to allow men and boys to do it for them. Feminists, you are essentially giving all power and control to the other person. How is this self-empowering? And also, boys are taught not about consent. We already know what consent is. The thing about teaching consent is that you can teach boys and men until you're blue in the face. But there is going to be some men and some women who totally ignore those teachings. It's like saying, you remember the time for the DARE program in elementary school? Teaching you not to do drugs? Who here has done drugs?
Smoke the weed.
Have you done drugs?
Every day.
Raise your hand.
Don't smoke the seeds.
Did you listen to your teachers in this regards?
It's a culture that tells women that the length of their skirt determines how truthful their claims of sexual violence are. It's a culture that encourages women to keep their sexual assaults to themselves for fear of losing family members or ruining a reputation.
Nope, it is not. It is MRAs, egalitarians, and men and women who are understanding what rape is, asking rape victims to come forward, because the sooner that you come forward, the more physical evidence there will be, the more likely chance of us finding out the truth of the matter in order to give them justice, okay? The sooner that a victim comes forward, the easier it is for everyone.
It's a culture that tells boys that when they're raped by a female teacher, that they should be thankful that they were able to land a hot chick at such a young age.
Now, Ms. Kat Blaque, I will give you kudos to this. I actually believe in this as well, that a lot of times when it comes to the situation where the perpetrator or rapist is a female and the victim is a young boy, a lot of society just either doesn't believe it or they will brush it aside. I do find that certain men will actually congratulate the young boy only if the female teacher is actually a hot woman. So the woman in question, a teacher, a caregiver, if she is hot and has sex with an underage child, more likely a boy, we are going to tell this boy that you were considered lucky that this happened. Telling a boy that he's lucky that he was raped by a hot woman is not the good way to do things, okay? Obviously, rape is rape, no matter who it is. Like, that's like saying that if a young girl was raped by a male teacher, everything is excused if he was considered a hot teacher. Or if she got wet in her vagina, same as a boy getting an erection, that must mean that they liked it. No, it still doesn't change the fact that a knowing adult who knows how consent works and about the boundaries, especially in regards to children, should be respected, and that they crossed that line and they manipulated, used, and sexually abused a young person who wouldn't know exactly what those things entailed. So yes, I will say that our society does favor the idea of a boy getting raped by a female teacher so long as she's hot, and they will excuse that bad behavior. This just shows that women will get the excuses made for them at every angle. Whereas if it was the other situation, if it was a hot male teacher banging a young 13-year-old girl, well, he's a rapist, monster, asshole. He deserves to be lynched in prison. Double standard.
It's a culture that tells boys that they can't come forward about their rapes when their rapists are men, because surviving sexual violence makes you gay, and not being able to defend yourself makes you a wimp.
Ugh, geez, it's like all of you feminists are just repeating everything that you're taught in Women's Studies 101, okay? Stop it. It's ridiculous. It just shows that you have any unoriginal idea in regards to how people will see male on male rape or female on female rape and female on male rape, for instance. The big story is always that the male is the rapist and everyone else is a victim. Go fuck yourself.
It's a culture that jokes freely about men getting what they deserve in prison from other inmates.
Well, have you ever been a rapist that goes to jail, especially of young children? Most prisoners of murder, drugs, theft, burglary, whatever have you, they have to separate the male rapist away from these other prisoners because the other prisoners will kill this rapist. They do not tolerate it. What does that tell you? They don't even condone rape. How do we live in a rape culture when the worst of human beings who are thrown into prison don't tolerate rape?
It's a culture that teaches men that they're incapable of being survivors of sexual violence because of physiological responses.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's only feminist circles who are saying this. Men's rights activists who are fighting for men's and boys' rights are trying to get these men and boys to come forward and have a safe space for them. How many safe spaces are there that are male shelters? Kat Blaque? Not a lot. And when we try to open up some, like Earl Silverman here in Calgary, Alberta, he tried to upkeep his shelter for men who were victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and he had his funding cut, and then he killed himself. Do you know how fucking hard it is? No, you probably don't, because you only think about it from your feminist lens.
It's a culture that teaches men that street harassment is a favorable way of approaching a woman.
No, they're just being dicks and assholes. Deal with it, or give some back. I, as an androgynous male, have gotten both street harassment from both men and some women. Men because they were gay or they were just straight wanted to pick on me, a more effeminate male. Women because they thought I was a lesbian. Men are not the only ones who are doing street harassment, okay? There are plenty of women who cross those boundaries who don't understand or they feel entitled to. Would you like to talk to them?
It's a culture where I have to say no over and over and over again because men are taught that no secretly means yes.
As a male, I've never been taught by my parents or my teachers or the police that no means convince me, sweetheart. No means no, you fucking twat.
It's a culture where men are more willing to respect my rejection if they believe that I belong to another man.
No, it's not to the fact that you belong to someone, aka another man. It's because you're in a relationship. A lot of people, men included, will respect you if they know that you are in a relationship. Those type of men, and guess what, some women, who don't respect that you have a relationship with someone else, they will cross those lines and still try to get in your pants. That doesn't equate to rape culture.
Rape culture is not the idea that we live in a society that supports the idea of rape, but rather that we live in a society that trivializes, downplays, and sometimes struggles to decipher sexual violence.
We do not trivialize or downplay it, for fuck's sakes. The whole issue around rape is the idea of consent. Karen Straughan did a good response video to another feminist, her name Meghan, in regards to the John Gomeshi case. The issue with rape is a lot of has to do with consent, because when a man and woman get together and a sexual encounter occurs, consensual, and then after the fact, she will claim that he raped her. Well, it's hard to prove that a rape occurred because we have physical evidence that might show that sex occurred, sexual intercourse, but that doesn't show that a rape occurred because basically it boils down to he said, she said, right? And now it's because of due process in the court systems, it needs to determine the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is we don't know if a rape occurred. We know that sex has occurred, but not rape. So who's lying? The girl? The guy? This is why we have due process, to figure the truth out. You can't just listen and believe to every victim. We have to be skeptical because rape is so dastardly. It's so evil and we condemn it so much. We need to figure it out. Okay, because it not only ruins the lives of a victim, it ruins the life of the person being accused.
Rape culture tells survivors of sexual violence that they are required to report their rapes, but only convicts 2% of reported rapists.
So that's considered a bad thing to inform victims of rape, mostly women, to come forward. That is a productive means in finding out the truth in order to possibly catch the rapist and throw them away into jail, where they have to be separated from other prisoners who condemn rape.
Rape culture unfortunately encourages silence.
It encourages silence. Your side of the party here is basically downplaying what real rape is, okay? Sexual abuse and violence, mental domination. Like, what you described, being approached by a stranger, is not rape. Nor is it rape culture. It just means that you were uncomfortable for a short amount of time because of some stranger trying to get down your pants. That is an individual case. It is not largely the case of everybody on the planet. And people who are smart enough to realize this, that your story, which included no rape whatsoever, is not rape culture. It's not proof of rape culture.
It creates a situation where people are made to feel responsible for the sexual violence that happens to them, but very rarely prosecutes people who commit it.
Very rarely. Do you know why it's very hard to prosecute people who commit it? Because the courts have to follow due process and go through every angle, every story, get every witness account, get every shred of evidence to prove if a rape occurred. If a rape did not occur or there's not sufficient evidence that a rape occurred, we have the system innocent until proven guilty. So if the accused is proven not guilty, they will have to let go by the courts. Therefore, there is no justice given to the supposed victim because there was no evidence. Okay? So again, this is why we promote, if somebody has been sexually violated, you come forward as soon as you can with as much evidence as you can in order to get your rapist put into jail. You know what? The message should be that we should let people know that if you are sexually victimized by another person, stranger or partner, okay, that you need to be prepared that when you come forward, you need as much evidence as physically and emotionally possible, okay? So the more that you can prove this with actual evidence, the more likely you will see justice. That's what we should have in our culture.
Rape culture is a social bias that we can deconstruct. And I'm happy that we're starting to have these conversations more and more.
I'm so happy for you, Miss Kat Blaque. Does anybody notice that she has really big lips? They're really annoying.
Anyway, this is all food for thought. I want you guys to always remember and to never forget that you are beautiful and you are loved.
Except that creeper guy who tried to get down your pants, right? Are you giving this message to him, Miss Kat Blaque? Or do you want him to go fuck himself?
Bye.
Bye.
If you like this video, you can support my work by becoming a monthly Patreon patron.
Ah, yes, the Patreon. You're so concerned about the existence of rape culture and how to better represent rape victims, but yet you're still going to attack in your Patreon. Give me your money. Yeah, so after that, basically, here are my 2 cents about rape culture. Rape culture does not exist in the Western societies, and here's why. Rape is a horrendous act from one or multiple people onto one person, okay? They now become a victim because they have been brutalized, abused, physically and mentally and emotionally abused. Something was taken from them at such a level that is inhumane that the rest of society has seen this as a condemnable act. Nobody likes rape, nobody promotes rape, and yet it still happens. Unfortunately, it still happens. So what should we do in order to prevent rape? Now, a lot of feminist circles like to think, well, just teach boys and men not to rape, and they will just magically listen. Well, it's been proven that some individuals, even though they are taught that rape is bad, even though they are taught that they need to know about consent and what that entails, will still go against those teachings and do whatever the hell they please. So, because we have this very tiny minority of human beings who disregard all the teachings that we teach them, okay, they will still go and rape. So how to stop it? Defend yourself. Pepper spray, keys, self-defense, screaming out fire instead of rape, screaming out for as loud as you can, getting eyewitness accounts, coming forward. Things like this empowers the individual. Okay? And the individual can be male or female, boy or girl. All right? This is self-empowerment. This is taking control of your situation in regards to preemptive strikes. Preemptive strikes is self-defense. Proactive would be coming forward with the possible rape if it did occur. Now, obviously, there are tons of factors in regards to this, whether or not consent was given by both parties, whether it was very private between partners, or it was a stranger danger. So because society does things normally, that is considered a culture. So, you know, Native American cultures have powwows, they have spirit walks, they have things that are contributed to their race and to their community. This is called a culture, all right? Same thing with Africans, same thing with Asian people, Japanese culture. In white culture, like there's broad ranges of white people, both European, North American, for instance. Rape is not one of them because it is not a normal process. We do not treat it as a normal process. If rape culture was a real thing, I would be able to step outside my door, pull the next hot babe right off the street, and bang her right on the sidewalk. I would force her down, choke her, slap her, stick my dick in her, and rape her against her will, even though she is screaming at the top of her lungs, no, no, please don't rape me, everybody walking by would just continue walking by. That is a rape culture. That is a culture where the citizens of society would find it normal. So, Ms. Kat Blaque, do we view rape as normal? Or do we view it as an act condemnable by law and people? Like, it doesn't exist. Okay, it cannot exist in the Western culture. You are trying to say that it does by putting fear mongering into young women who are impressionable, who don't understand, what rape really is, because in your guild, you're saying that, a male gazing at you in an elevator is considered rape, or catcalling is rape when it's not. Because you are equating normal instances that are can be easily dealt with on an individual level, because you equate this with rape, you are getting away with creating a rape culture. You are putting the fear in girls to think that everywhere they go, they're going to suffer rape. But this is not the case. Okay? And when it does actually happen to rape victims, when it generally does happen, you are the ones that are diminishing their stories. You are the ones that are saying, well, other victims don't come forward, so there's no point in you doing it. You are the ones that are saying that those people who are convicted of rape just get off because it's a boys only club. Pat on the back. Good job. You are the group that is normalizing rape culture in the West. And it is us, the people who are against you, who have common sense and some form of brain cells higher than a bag of bricks, to understand what is happening. And we are trying to tell you that there is no rape culture. But you don't want to see that because you will always see women as victims. All right? It's you who's promoting rape culture. It is you who's normalizing it because of your lack of understanding. And we're done with you. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's my 2 cents in regards to rape culture. It doesn't exist in the Western society. Neither does patriarchy or the gender wage gap and any of that other feminist nonsense. Please use your brains, analyze things, learn self-defense, self-empower yourself to protect yourself from any possible danger. I mean, that's the best that we can do. That is what I promote, even if you're male or female. Protect yourself, because this world is not fair. And this world doesn't give a shit about you. So give a shit about yourself. All right, guys. Take care of one another. And I will talk to you later. Bye. Did you listen to your teachings, Miss Kat Blaque and other feminists?